Good morning. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees. I appreciate all those that are in attendance today personally, as well as those that are visiting and watching our meeting and the work. And I want to thank the Chancellor, as always, his staff, the presidents and their staff for the hard work they have put in developing our documentation for our meeting today. As always, we're laser focused on student success, and we remain true to our core mission of education, workforce development, and academic transfer. At this time, I'd like to introduce our pastor, Pastor Courtney Meadows. He's actually blessed us earlier in a previous meeting a few years ago, and we're blessed that a 21st century leader, gifted gospel preacher, empowerment speaker, and flame igniter. I like that. He's a firm believer in community and youth empowerment. He's a founding member and coordinator of student programs for Southern Youth Leadership Development Institute. Additionally, Pastor Meadows serves as chaplain and faith coach to the Alabama State University football team and coaching staff. He's a graduate of the James Earl Wright Leadership Institute and Leadership Montgomery Torchbearers. Chapters of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity and Zeta Phi Beta sorority, Lowndes County School District, Alabama State University Fine Arts Department, Keep Productions, Southern Youth Leadership Development Institute, and others. Pastor Meadows is a native of Montgomery, Alabama, a graduate of St. James School and Talladega College. He's a proud husband of Renisha Rudolph and dog dad to Bishop. Pastor Meadows.
Good morning. What a pleasure it is to Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for this meeting of the Alabama Community College System. We thank you for Chairman Davis and all of the members of the Board of Trustees. Thank you for Chancellor Baker and for all the dedicated staff of every division of this system, for each college president and their faculty and staff. Lord, in these unprecedented we are confident that you will carry us forward. For this meeting and all of the endeavors of this system, we invoke your presence and we pray your continued blessings. Grant your protection in the face of this virus and variants, wisdom in decision-making, innovation in strategic initiatives, unity and determination to forge ahead in the work of preparing to fulfill their purpose and assignment in the earth. All these things we pray with confidence that you will hear and answer and do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think for this system and for every college and even the more our students. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Well, this time let's stand for a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Wilkins, please call the roll.
Mr. Jeb Shale. Mr. John Mitchell. Ms. Valerie Gray.
Present.
Mr. Matthew Woods.
Present.
Mr. Levelyn Roan.
Present.
Mr. Blake McAnally.
Present.
Dr. Yvette Richardson.
Present.
Governor Kay Ivey. You have a quorum.
Hey, thank you. Our agenda was distributed to the board members beforehand, and they've had a chance to review our agenda. And this time I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Rogers.
Second.
Second from Mr. Woods. All in favor, please signify by show of hands. All right, agenda approved. No? Okay. Excuse me. Okay, next item is our approval of the minutes. And again, the minutes from our July 14th meeting, they had been distributed to the board members beforehand. And this time I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Rogers, second. Second from Mr. McAnally. All in favor, please signify by raising hand. Not opposed. Ahead of myself, and we have no one signed up for public comment. Okay, great. Now we have item 7A1, our action item for the Alabama Community College System allocation of 2020 to 2021 industry certification initiative funds.
Motion to approve this
A
item.
motion from Mr. Woods, second.
Second.
Second from Ms. Gray. All those in favor? All right. Any opposed? We have a motion approved for the allocation of the 2021 Industry Certification Initiative funds. Next item is 7A2, the Alabama Community College System 2021 to 2022 salary schedules. Entertain a motion.
Motion.
A motion by Mr. McAnally, second by Mr. Woods. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed? Motion approved for the 2021-22 system salary schedules. Next item is item 7A3, the Alabama Community College System adoption of the Facilities Division Manual of Procedures. Is there a motion? Okay, have a motion by Mr. Mitchell, not Mr. Mitchell, but Mr. Shell. Okay, and second by Mr. Roan. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed? Motion approved for the adoption of the Facilities Division Manual of Procedures.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, I meant to say this, that a tremendous amount of work went into this. We're a committee that was seated to rapidly bring this to fruition, and they did a great job. Very much appreciated all who were involved, and we had ample opportunity to review and make comments, and they were addressed and very much appreciated. And I understand we have projects that will be using this manual very quickly.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. McAnally. Okay, the next item on our agenda is item 8A1 for Bishop State Community College, the procurement of the Process Technology Training System. Is there a motion? A motion by Mr. Roan, second by Mr. Shell. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed? Motion approved. Next item on our agenda is item 8A2 for Enterprise State Community College, the request for authority to sell property to the city of Enterprise College for use as recreational facilities. Entertain a motion. Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Mitchell, second by Mr. Rogers. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion approved. Next item on the agenda is personnel. Chancellor, no personnel comments. Next item is the Chancellor's report.
It's almost time for school to convene again, and I've asked Olivier, who directs our student services operation in the system, he and his staff have been busy with that, and I'd kind of asked him to give us a little update.
Good morning. To Chairman Davis, members of the board, and Chancellor Baker, thank you for giving me just a few minutes to provide you with just a couple of updates. I will do my best to be brief. I only want to share 3 things with you today. And the first item that I'd like to just give you an update on is really an update on an initiative that we've kicked off a couple of months ago. And that initiative is called the Chancellor's Challenge. A few months ago, the Chancellor challenged us, a group of us, to come up with. So after some discussion, we arrived at almost what seems to be a competition called the Chancellor's Challenge. And what the challenge is, and the goal of the challenge is, we've kind of created 4 categories, and those categories are new student headcount, total enrollment, retention, and credit hour production. And essentially the goal for each one of our colleges is to beat the numbers that they had in each of those categories from last year. So just comparing fall 20 to fall 2021, if a college had 1,000 students, then that college would have 10% growth. So we are just measuring that college's growth compared to the previous year. We're not comparing the colleges to each other. We're only comparing the college to themselves and the numbers for last fall. So it's really built at our colleges focusing on those 4 items and essentially growing their overall enrollment. What we love about this challenge is that it is nothing new. We didn't reinvent the wheel. These are 4 things that our colleges focus on every year. I'm glad to say that our colleges are off to a great start with it, but I'll share. Chancellor and also our Vice Chancellor and our Chief of Staff, Susan Price, they both love this contest that we've created. One of the things that we proposed was if the college or the colleges that win those categories can actually get funds from the system office to push a student success initiative. So whether that's a career closet for a student, preparing to go on an interview, or a food pantry for students who have insecurities, or even a new website, whatever that college deems as the need. To know that it's about them. So he actually proposed the system office providing funds for professional development, because just as much as we want to grow our enrollment, it's important that we grow our people. So that was something that I think stuck with all of us, and one of the reasons that we're doing this. We want to increase our enrollment, we want to increase our retention, but it's also about growing our people as well. So really want to give kudos to the Chancellor for that, because that was something that we didn't think to propose, but he wanted to add that to it as well. So in all 4 of those categories. And we chose November because that would give us time for the second mini term to start and for other students to enroll. But we also chose November because we plan to use ACCA, which is our annual conference, as a system to present those 4 winners and essentially honor them in front of their colleagues, right? So give them a chance to receive those kudos in front of their colleagues and in front of the entire system to recognize them for their efforts. The colleges will also receive a very large category. So we certainly wanted to add some prestige to this and hope that it's something that can morph into something bigger every single year with our colleges as they work to meet those goals anyway. But we want to show them from the system office level that we certainly support all of those goals. And I think that brings me to the second item that I wanted to update you on, which is where we stand right now with enrollment for fall. We look at enrollment every single day in this office, and we look at where our system stands every day. But we run a report every Wednesday morning that and as of this morning, we are actually, as a system, at 85% of where we were as a system last year at this exact date. The good thing about that is that we are about 5% higher in terms of year-to-date comparison than we were at this time last year. So we're trending upward. That's certainly a good sign for fall, but I'll be honest with you, as an enrollment manager, I'm more glass half full, and I'm more worried about all of the stuff that the colleges have pinned against them right now. But our college, 100% of their enrollment for fall, and a lot of them are at 90%. So the next 3 weeks for us as a system are very critical, because as community colleges, about 30 to 40% of our enrollment comes within the last 3 weeks prior to classes starting. So our colleges are extremely busy right now, and they're registering students and they're moving students every day. So those numbers will fluctuate a lot over the next 20 to 30 days or so. I'm going to share a report with you after this meeting so you can see that comparison, but those numbers will certainly kind of move up and down over the next 3 weeks. nation, and a lot of our colleges, or all of our colleges, are actually holding clinics on their campuses to encourage our students to get vaccinated. As we see numbers surge upward with COVID, that's certainly something we want to be cognizant of, because we want to open our doors 100% to the best that we can for our students. So our colleges are doing as much as they possibly can to help incentivize and get students through the door. So we're really proud of our institutions for pushing that initiative, because to be honest with you, COVID, making sure that we're prepared for whatever we need to do for our students this fall. The last item that I want to share an update with you on is where we stand with our CRM implementation. It's been about 2 months since I've been able to update you all as a board, but just as a recap, we have selected TargetX as our vendor. We have awarded the contract to them. We've also selected Northwest Shoals as our pilot institution, if you all recall. I'm glad to report that Northwest Shoals has done an amazing job as a team. They're off to a great start. Shoals with the folks at Northwest Shoals. So they were able to start, thank you. They were able to, feel like a singer, a lot of stuff here. They were able to start that implementation over 3 weeks ago. And one of the things that they've done with Northwest Shoals is they've already built the application for admission. So that is complete, and it's actually in its testing phase. And they've actually already built the inquiry form. So that is the form that a student would fill out to say the system as well. We are excited to also report that we as a system are ahead of schedule of our implementation. I think I told you all that we plan to have this implemented by November. We're looking at probably a month earlier in terms of implementation. So we're really proud of the work that Molly Pollard from our IT office, our new CRM administrator, and also Neil Scott from Student Success have done to build us up to this point. But more importantly, the folks at Northwest Shoals have worked very diligently to do their part. So our goal is within the next 3 weeks to have for some folks across the system, and all of our colleges have selected a CRM administrator. We're going to bring all those folks here and run a 3-day training to get them ready, to get them started to operate their system. So we're pretty excited. I just wanted to share with you all that we're not just on track, but we're looking to be ahead of schedule to get that software in place. Our marketing office here has also written about 9 emails for us. So when we roll that system out, our colleges don't have to spend a lot of time building it. It will be ready to go and ready to operate as soon as we give it to them. So all at a high level that we're looking good and we're looking ahead of schedule for implementing that system and that software. At this time, I know I was quick to run through those 3 things. I'd love to take any questions that you may have. Well, thank you all so much. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you for that very thorough report. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is committee reports. Do we have any committee reports?
From the Audit Finance Committee, I would just say that coming out from the state right now, and I encourage each of you to look at those, particularly our committee will be reviewing those, as will, I know, the system office. Also, just wanted to say briefly on some things that we'll be talking about today in the efforts and the work that are being done by the finance group here are, they're doing yeoman's work and it's appreciated. We're getting a lot of information, having the opportunity to review and have input ahead of schedule. And
Policy. Okay, great. Next, date and location for our next meeting. The work session will immediately follow this meeting at 10:20, and believe it or not, we're on schedule. And the next Board of Trustees meeting is September 8th, this building at 10 a.m. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All right, meeting adjourned. And let's move directly into our work session. I'd like to start our work session, and Mr. Bryan, do you have any I guess, the executive items in regards to the mission statements.
Good morning to you all. The first item on the work session agenda is Enterprise States request. What the Board of Trustees is being asked to review is the college's current mission statement, which is up for review in accordance with the SACS requirements. Does anyone have any questions regarding this item? The next item is Marion Military Institute's request for review and approval relating to Marion's request regarding its mission statement. The next item is Shelton State's request for review and approval of its current mission statement. Does anyone have any questions regarding Shelton State's request relating to its mission statement? That the Board of Trustees authorize the president of the college to name the Physical Therapy AR Lab in the Center for Health Sciences for Mr. Eric Deacle. Bishop State will receive from Mr. Deacle a gift in the amount of $10,000 for the naming opportunity. These funds will be used to purchase equipment for the facility. School of Physical Therapy, Mr. Deacle has over 20 years of experience in various areas of physical therapy, such as geriatrics, wound care, neurological, and orthopedic conditions. However, a passion for vestibular and balance rehabilitation led him to open the Center for Balance and Rehabilitation, Mobile's only comprehensive vestibular and balance clinic. Mr. Deacle is the only and uses this skill to set return patients who suffer from vertigo and vestibular and balance issues to a normal life again. Mr. Deacle is married to Deidre, and they are the proud parents of 4 children. The college requests that the Center for Health Sciences Physical Therapy AR Lab be named the Center for Balance and Rehabilitation. Eric and Deidre Deacle Physical Therapy relating to this item.
I'm sure this is all in accordance with our board policy, correct?
It is. The next item is Bishop State's request that the Board of Trustees authorize the president of the college to name the student common area in the Center for Health Sciences, the Ball Healthcare Services Incorporated, for Ball Healthcare Services Incorporated. $75,000 for the naming opportunity. These funds will be used in purchasing equipment for the facility. Ball Healthcare was founded by Clarence M. Ball Jr. in 1983. Ball Healthcare has grown to 10 skilled nursing facilities operating in Alabama, with its corporate headquarters in Mobile. Ball Healthcare offers approximately with 4 outpatient therapy services in 4 locations. The college requests that the Center for Health Sciences Student Common Area be named the Ball Healthcare Student Common Area. Any questions regarding this item? The next item is a request that the Board of Trustees authorize the President of Bishop State to name a Landau Uniforms Incorporated. Landau Uniforms will gift the college $2,500 for this naming opportunity, and the funds will be used to purchase equipment for the facility. Landau was founded in 1938 by Rudolph Landau, and 50 years later, Landau is a third-generation family business with more than 16,600 that the Center for Health Sciences study table be named the Landau Uniforms Incorporated study table. Does anyone have any questions regarding this item? The next item is a request that the Board of Trustees authorize the President of Bishop State to name the entrance foyer in the Center for Health Sciences for Ball Healthcare will gift the college the sum of $25,000 for the naming opportunity, and these funds will be used in purchasing equipment for the facility. Does anyone have any questions regarding this item? The next item is a request for the Board of Trustees to authorize the President of Bishop State to name the nursing AR lab Spring Hill Medical will gift the college the sum of $10,000 for this naming opportunity. These funds will be used to purchase equipment for the facility. Spring Hill Medical Center is a family-owned healthcare facility founded in Mobile in 1975 by Dr. Gerald Wallace. The hospital supports the local community with over $5 million of tax revenue annually and thousands for local social programs. The college requests that the Center for Health Sciences Nursing AR Lab be named the Spring Hill Medical Center Nursing AR Lab. Does anyone have any questions regarding this item? The next item is a request that the Board of Trustees authorize the President of Bishop State Community College in the Advanced Manufacturing Center for Lenzing Fibers Incorporated. Lenzing Fibers Incorporated will gift the college $10,000 for this naming opportunity. These funds will be used for purchasing equipment for the facility. Lenzing Fibers Incorporated is an international group founded in 1983 with its headquarters in Lenzing, Austria, with employees. The nearest facility of Lenzing is located in Axis, Alabama. The college requests that the Advanced Manufacturing Center Theory Classroom be named the Lenzing Fibers Incorporated Theory Classroom. Are there any questions regarding this item? The next item is a request that the Board of Trustees authorize as Vail Rubber Works in the Instrumentation Lab in the Advanced Manufacturing Center as a copper level donor. Vail Rubber will gift the college $10,000 for this recognition. The college requests the Advanced Manufacturing Center Instrumentation Lab recognize Vail Rubber Works. Does anyone have any questions regarding this item?
I was just going to make a comment. It says commendable that, congratulate Dr. Brandenburg, Dr. Sykes, and their staff, that they're developing these partnerships and receiving this type of support from the community. The next item on our agenda is the fiscal, and
Good morning, everyone. The budgets for our 24 schools in our system and ATN. In addition, in the next action item, we will be looking at the system budget, and that will be presented by Sarah Calhoun. And I'm happy to report all budgets are balanced.
that's a good thing.
As you look at the information, you can see on the first page that we had a nice increase in our ETF appropriations, which was been reported on by. See a healthy increase in our federal funds. A lot of that is based on the CARES Act, which I think you've all been aware of, and we certainly appreciate those funds and putting them to good use. We did budget a decrease in tuition and fees by about 5%, but if we know that we did have some reduction in our enrollment last year. Actual is so, or at least for 2021. So that in its own way is an aggressive budget. If you turn the page, you'll see that we have ATN and Marion. I'm happy to report, obviously, they're both balanced, and also we show a nice increase in their state appropriations. If you look at our expenses, you need to remember that we are showing will be showing themselves in the in each of the amounts that you see by type of expense. Also, the CARES funding. If you get the revenue, you have to spend the money. So you also see an increase in expense based on the fact that you had increases in revenue. In institutional support, you'll see a nice increase. Well, a lot of that's because that's where our IT expense goes, and a lot of our funds and using that to help us get through the pandemic through extra automation. As we and you can, and as was mentioned in the report, we do show a $40 million surplus in our operating fund, but again, a lot of that is being caused by unspent CARES funds. Those will show themselves as expenses in previous year in succeeding years. So when we come in future years, you may see, and then for anything that you receive, you have to spend. So of that 40 million, about 22 million of it is restricted. As we also state, all of our colleges, by the Chancellor and the board, requires there to be 2 months of operating expenses in reserve, and we're happy to say every one of our colleges easily fit those. Do you have any questions? Great. Thank you so much for your support.
Good morning, everyone. Is this picking me up? Okay. As you will see, this is the budgeted request that the board will review and make for consideration for the FY22 system office budget. Again, you will see all of our programs that are ETF or of this action item. On the second page, it gives you the details for both the funding sources and the planned expenditures. A great deal of our portion comes from the Education Trust Fund, and then we have also identified outside grants and awards and other funds as our revenue. As with the colleges, our revenues have also increased at the system office level, both from ETF and from also grants and awards. We are showing to our revenues. We don't anticipate carryover for many of our funds into 23. A portion of that is an increase to our personnel costs due to the increased services that we're providing to our colleges and our expanded roles there. Benefits have also being impacted by those increase in personnel costs. We have kept all other line items fairly levelized except for the grants and benefits, which would go directly to grant processes and also workforce and adult ed type expenditures that are processed through the system office. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kellen. It's great to see balanced budgets. I love that. That's the last item on our agenda. Is there any comments from our board members? Any questions?